Welcome all to Off the Cuff with Namrita. Happy New Year to all of you, and I am so thrilled to start 2024 with a guest who I deeply admire. We don't meet that often, but I feel so organically comfortable whenever I meet him and I chat with him, once in a while. He's very unassuming about his success, I have to say. And I'm so happy to talk to him about his new book that's out and available everywhere. So welcome, Sid, to Off the Cuff.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
It is my pleasure. And a little bit more about Siddharth Chattopadhyay. He is an engineering leader and a veteran software engineer at Google for 15 plus years now. I don't know, zyada ho gaye honge.
Yeah,
but
I just had crossed 16 years yesterday.
Oh, see? Yeah, 16 years. He is a music performer, composer, director and producer. Sid plays 12 different musical instruments. That has also gone up, I have to say, and has done large-scale musical productions. He is the author of 2 books, Happiness 3.0, When Artificial Intelligence Merges with Human Happiness, and The Empathy Engineer, A Colorless Love Story. Both very different books, and he's a great sketch artist. I'll say, what a talent here. So Siddharth, my first question to you is that I loved reading your book, Happiness 3.0. Yeah. And tell me, how did you get, an idea for writing this? Because, as we can say, our life is so intertwined with AI now. So a little bit about your journey.
So I've been in this field of artificial intelligence for a long time now, almost like 10 years. And I mean, for everybody, artificial intelligence sounds very, the thing, like science fiction kind of thing.
Yes.
But in reality, artificial intelligence is just a collection of tools which sort of tries to mimic intelligence of some form.
Okay.
And maybe human intelligence, to be more precise. But how that connects with real life is through the different apps we go to.
Very true.
Right. For example, we have YouTube or YouTube Music or recommendation things or news or anything personalized that you look at. Yeah. So now what happens is there is some aspect of AI behind that. We sort of personalizes stuff for you, maybe music for you, maybe news for you, maybe different feed in social media for you. And that sort of makes your opinion or shapes your opinion in a very subtle way, which perhaps we are not aware. Right. And the idea for this book has been in my mind for some time, that I wanted to write about happiness in general, because that's something I think should be a key goal or metric in somebody's life. So now how do you merge that with technology? And that's how the idea came up with me, to merge AI and happiness. Yeah,
it is very interesting and very relevant, I'll say, in today's times. And you did say in the book that along with human evolution, happiness has also evolved. And it's very well presented in your book. Like you've talked about happiness 1.0, 2.0 and then 3.0. So can you basically touch on what you meant by those?
So this versioning is very surprising. So when I was in the process of writing this book, I sort of bounced my ideas with my friends, and they were like, how can happiness have version? But I do think happiness can have version. So for example, it sort of depends on technology. Let's put it this way. So when we were, at least when I was in middle school and high school, it was the early 90s. So there, we only had basic internet and stuff like that, but didn't have any fast internet or anything. Not much technology around it. So what happened then was happiness was very organic. It came through social connections, through family, through stuff that your friends told you. For example, I'm deep into music, as you said initially, and I love listening to music, but all the kind of content that got to me was through my friends. Somebody said, oh, have you listened to Michael Jackson? I'm like, who is Michael Jackson? And then they come up with a CD, I listen to it, and I'm like, okay, I like this. 2.0, Happiness 2.0 starts when sort of the internet came in, and I saw the internet for the first time in my IIT days. I went to IIT Kanpur, and my first year was 1997. And it just happened that internet came to India, to IIT at that time. So we had this computers where you can go to a thing called a browser and go to a website called yahoo.com.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a long time back.
Long time.
And we searched for stuff, and it was a kaboom moment for me. It's like, oh my god, now
It's amazing, yeah.
you can go after information. Exactly. It's amazing, right? You can go after information. So information doesn't come to you serendipitously. It's like you are in the controlling seat to really seek out the kind of knowledge and information, content around you for yourself. That had a very dramatic change, and I call happiness that came from it as happiness 2.0. What that means is, from now on, suppose there's a beautiful piece of music and or some beautiful drama or some new content or anything. Earlier in happiness 1.0, I had to be in the right connection with the right people to get that information. But for 2.0, I can seek it out myself.
Very true, yeah.
Right. So it's like for us, we were young college students, and we just went, and there was a plethora of information. Everything. I mean, you search for music, search for movies, search for places to visit, stuff to eat, culture, this and that. It was amazing. But even then, the information was still, I'll say, sort of organic, because you still have to search for stuff. So I believe when smartphones and internet came together, and if you remember in 2007 in Cupertino nearby, Steve Jobs made this famous announcement when he announced iPhone.
Yes.
And he said it's like it's one single device for a phone, a computer, and the internet. Everything under you. So what happened then was, now suddenly you have a way of getting information to you serendipitously without you seeking for it. And that happened through all the social media and stuff like that. Now keep in mind, social media has been around for a long time. I mean, MySpace was around, and then I think Facebook came in 2004. But even then, you have to go to a computer. You have to seek out a computer, sit down on a computer and work through the social media. But now if you look at it, on your phone, even if you want it or not want it, in Google Pixel, in Apple also, you just get news feeds just like that.
Very true, yeah.
You go to Facebook, just any time. People do that all the time. People can't sleep and they go to Facebook or whatever, or TikTok, and they get information serendipitously.
Yeah.
That, I think, started this era of happiness 3.0. And we are in happiness 3.0.
Very true.
Right? What that means is, our happiness is now closely entangled with the very complex phenomena of how social information and other kind of cultural information all across the world gets mashed together into this single concept called a feed, a news feed, or a social media feed, or a TikTok feed, or a YouTube feed, YouTube Music, Spotify, everything. And the core concept that drives all this is actually some form of artificial intelligence, which goes behind in the core technology to personalize the feeds for you, and hence shape your opinion about you without you knowing it, and that drives the happiness. So that's to your version thing. Happiness 1.0 no internet, happiness 2.0 with internet, and happiness 3.0 with internet and artificial intelligence.
Wow. I know. So I come from an era even before yours.
Yes.
So we've seen the growth from, 60s to 2024 now, I'll say. And it's been vast. So for us, it's a little scary also, but we have to adapt. We have to be clever as to how to use it. Like you're saying, now it's become so personalized that AI is telling you that this is where your happiness lies. This is what you'll enjoy reading. This is what you'll enjoy, listening to. But I think you need to keep that. You need to be aware of, it's so like, in your book only I read that for the future, what is beyond? Should we consider AI our friend or foe?
Yes. I actually have an interesting observation. When the book was published, then ChatGPT also had started proliferating. And now you have Google Gemini, and also
Okay.
lot of technology players are out there. Now this big question comes, I mean, with this kind of AI technology, which is more, I'd say more concrete and on your face, which directly you can interact with. Now the questions come whether it's a friend and a foe, really. I mean, for me, I think AI it's like having a very friendly kind of technology, which is there to help us to make our lives better, to bring happiness 3.0 or 4.0 maybe going forward. But at the same time, there needs to be standards across the world to rein in this power. So the way I see AI is similar to the way technology has evolved. For example, they say, oh, AI can do this, or it can solve math problems nobody's done before, or it can do things so quickly. Well, so does a car. I mean, a car runs faster than a human.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We have been building these cranes and all these bulldozers and all this kind of technology to build homes. They are more powerful than us. Right? Even a innocuous little thing, like, I don't know, like any small tool, a hammer, for example.
Yeah.
It's such an innocuous little tool which was invented like so many years back. That is more powerful than us. So, when people say, oh, AI is very powerful and when can it be a friend or a foe? It all matters if we can rein and control it properly. And that comes from universal standards. For example, if you remember when websites came up, we had this thing called HTML5. It's still there. I mean, HTML5 is used to write on a website. HTML5 is actually a standard created. For example, all the network protocols, they are standard. HTTP, right? TCP, they are all standards. There are internet protocols. So AI needs to have some kind of a standard. The moment they have a standard to control and rein the power, then I think that's the time when AI becomes a friend, really.
Okay, yeah, I think your engineer mind is working here, and you know, and that is important to have standards, to have controls somewhere, because you know, unlike a hammer or a bulldozer, AI is replicating human intelligence also. You know, it's so that is highly could be devastating, but it could be so much. It can give so much back to the humanity also, like, you know, Siddharth book is talking about. Coming to your personal life, Siddharth, you, like you said, you great with your you know, with your sketches, and you're a musician, and you've given so many wonderful productions you've done, and given music to so many theatre plays here. So how do you keep your work-life balance, and do you have a mantra for living happily?
I think that's a great question. I don't know. I mean, I have been asked this question a few times by my friends. Some of my friends call me. I mean, I like to be modest about it, but some of my friends call me the Leonardo da Vinci of modern generation. I don't think it's like that at all. But I do a lot of things. One interesting thing is, when we talk about balance, I'd say that it's more of a mental discipline, really. I'll tell you. So, for example, when I'm at work, I have the ability to block out other distractions and just concentrate on work. And that's how most people do. And I'm not the only one. I see many people who work and also do theaters and music, all this kind of thing. But the reason I do so many things is I get great support from my family. And also I have set some time apart for to do nothing.
Oh.
You know that's very important. That mental and physical space for yourself, where you do nothing and let your creativity, you know, like sort of sprout by itself. I mean, it sounds very philosophical, but in reality, it's very pragmatic, because what happens is when a person goes from one activity to the other, there always needs to be a boundary. Otherwise, what happens? Suppose I am writing C++ code or something, or I'm doing very technically hands-on stuff, and then suddenly I have to move to writing a book, which is like very creatively vast. I mean, your thoughts go here and there and start thinking stuff. Or maybe playing an instrument where you have to really understand. If I play piano, is a different way, but if I play sitar, is different way. You always need that space where you begin from the space, mental framework. You go to do your stuff, then bring yourself back to that mental framework, we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything, even if for 10 minutes or half an hour, then you are ready to de-absorb everything that you have been doing before and move on to the next step. So that's why there have been days when I've been very busy, where I've done everything on a single day. Started in the morning, my family was asleep. I woke up, everybody asleep. I take up my sitar and play, and maybe some early morning raga, say Bhairav or Malkosh, I'm playing. And then family wakes up, I spend time with them a little bit. School, spend time with Devjani, my wife, and then I go to work. So, while driving, that is the process when a mind is like de-absorbing from what I did in the morning. I go to work, now I'm in the C++ and coding mode and all the other real technical stuff. When I come back home, during driving, nowadays I listen to music, but usually I try to do nothing, de-absorb. Then I come back, if I get time, then I get to my book. Started working on my next book, I start thinking about that. And then when the family goes to sleep, then I think, okay, maybe this is time, and I sketch something so that I fall asleep. So it's more of a mental discipline.
Mental discipline is so important, and for a creative mind like yours, I'm sure you need that downtime. And like Siddharth is saying, if you keep doing a work, continuously, be it from your office work or anything else, it's always it clutters your mind and it tires your mind. So find that time to be all by yourself and actually do nothing. That's these days I think mindfulness is teaching you that, especially in this era of information overload. To just, if you can do nothing, I think that's the best thing, and that's where people are finding it hard to just sit still because there's so much of stimulation going around, and I'm glad that you have managed to find that balance in your life. So recently I had gone to India, and there's always so much of observation that you get from there, and India is at the forefront of tech boom here, and also in India. And what I saw personally was I experienced the coexistence of spiritual and religious devotion and complete surrender to technology and AI. Because I had visited like a 700 AD temple in a rural area close to Udaipur, and this woman was selling the garlands to take to the temple, and I didn't have my purse with me, and I said, I can't buy, I don't have a... She said, use your phone and use a Pt1 in a remote village in this thing. So what I'm seeing is that spirituality and religion is there, and also complete surrender to AI by illiterate people also. Not engineers. I'm not talking about. What do you think about that? Do you think it's a it's a passage away for a better world, or is it going to be I was kind of thinking about that, so I said I'll ask you.
No, I think that's a great question. I have not personally seen that yet, but I need to see that, and I have heard stories about this, like remote places using technology and all that. I mean, see, one thing I've always loved by technology, and maybe that's why I'm here in Silicon Valley doing tech at Google, is that at the end of the day, technology is just a means of improving people's lives, right? So if AI is there to some extent to improve their lives by any way, then I think this is just the kind of utopia we would want to be. Just the other day I was thinking, I was talking about my book, Happiness, with some people who had come over to get books signed and all that. I love this process, by the way. People come to get books signed. I
have to get it signed, by the way.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Not as a hint. So, and there was this excellent gentleman who has been around for a long time in the area. And he told me, he said, one thing that technology can enable is, for example, make their lives better for our like older citizens who are finding it difficult to move or navigate or stuff like that. And I was thinking, well, there you are. I mean, that's that's a very altruistic way of technology being useful, and also that also relates to happiness and all those kind of things. If you come to think of it, like for example, just imagine a day. These days you hear a lot about robotics. When you talk about AI, we also think of robotics. I don't know why they are different, but somehow they are merging together. So now just imagine a day where our senior citizens here, they have these friendly robots around. And what these robots do is essentially take care of them, and that's so wonderful, right?
I know,
right?
I know.
Like bring the medicine at the right time. If they need some physical assistance to maybe go somewhere or navigate, get up a car, get up the bed, even the robots will come and help. You're feeling lonely, you want to do something, the robots will have this nice screen, so they pop up and say, okay, why don't you watch this movie? I will watch with you. So there's a robot standing with you with a screen, and the senior citizen, they're enjoying, and the robot is also commenting with them. Haha, this part is really awesome. It's like really companionship, and really those nice things where I think humans in generally are regressing a bit over time. Like we were talking about this before, like
very true,
right? I mean, people are so, and nobody is at fault here, because what happens is as the world gets more and more complicated, then people, I believe, need to work more just to sustain, give more time to the work, to the family, whatever. I mean, so essentially at the end of the day, people become very, very busy, and that is where AI and technology can come in. Like in the rural place, for example, had that pay team or whatever had not been around, that woman could not have sold anything if you don't have cash. So TLDR, too long, don't read. That's what we call it. Is that I think AI and technology is really, really helping society.
And it's going to keep growing. Hopefully, like when you were talking about a robot, and elderly healthcare is so much in dire. This thing, it's very difficult to find caregivers these days for the elderly. So that is great. It was reminding me of the Tamagotchi, pets like the kids had. Remember, it was like first companion for them, and we were fascinated. It was a few years back. That's an upgrade for elderly, I'll say, to.
Shosha is a creative Indian restaurant located in the heart of Silicon Valley. Shosha is a woman-owned business that serves traditional Indian flavors assimilated with molecular gastronomy techniques. The best Indian bar with happy hours in the Bay Area serves handcrafted drinks inspired by flavors from India with modern craft cocktails that are presented in unique ways. Shosha is a modern take on traditional Indian cuisine. We specialize in corporate luncheon, anniversary celebrations, birthday parties, and catering. Do check us out for a memorable modern Indian dining experience. Shosha is located at 141 South Murphy Avenue in Sunnyvale, California.